Hello, welcome to the skill building training for April 2024. Today, we are going to talk about how to find the right funding. And you might be surprised that it's more about project planning than it is about the actual funder. So I'm going to take you through a couple of key questions and pieces to look at to ensure you're applying to the right funds. So first of all, complete a funding needs assessment. So what is this? That's a fancy way of saying make a laundry list of all the funding needs that your organization has. Capital, programming, operations, anything that is coming up that you would like to look for grants. Start with really knowing what you need funding for. Then align your needs with a funder. Instead of searching for funders and trying to fit your needs into their box, understand what your needs are and align your needs with a funder. I see so many groups make this mistake where they try to amend or change what they're doing so they can fit into what a funder is looking for instead of focusing on what they really truly need to achieve their mission. So focus on your needs and then search out a funder that supports those particular areas. Next, now this is a really big one. How competitive is the fund? And so, how do you know this? Consider the funder's grant base. Is it a local funder, provincial funder, or a national funder? What is your scope and scale of your organization? Do you line up with the same scale? Now, that doesn't mean you won't be eligible if you have a different scale, but it's noting that the bigger the scale, the more competitive it is. If you're looking at a national funder, there's likely more funds that needs to be distributed across a broader geographic landscape. And so I'll give you a really great example. And so the Provincial Civil Society Fund, this was an Alberta government grant fund that came up, and they had $7 million to distribute across the province. That sounds like a lot of money, but you were able to apply for up to $1 million for this grant. So if every single person asked for $1 million, only 7 grants were available across the entire province. And so even if you take the 7 largest cities in Alberta and 1 grant went to each city, all the funds are gone again. So that really gives you some perspective of how competitive the fund might be. And so considering that base as well as how much funding is available will give you an idea of your chances for success. If your alignment is really, really strong with a funder and it's still a quite competitive grant, go for it. If your alignment with that funder is weak, or you really have to sell the idea, but you know that it's going to be incredibly competitive, it might not be the best use of your efforts. So how do you know how much funding is available? You can potentially ask a funder. Some note it on their website, very few, but asking a funder is a really great opportunity. A few other things that you can look for. This might seem straightforward. Are you eligible? This relates to both the eligibility of your organization, so your mission, your vision, as well as your organizational status. Nonprofit versus charitable is something to be considered. And does your project idea align with the funder's focus areas? So they're looking to have an impact in certain parts of social services. They're looking to have an impact on education. They're looking to have impact on youth. Does your project align with the impact and change that they are trying to make? You get to be the conduit for them to actually have that impact. The next consideration, when is the deadline? So consider how detailed and complex the application is, and if you and your staff have the time and resources to put your best application forward. Oftentimes, we try to do more when we don't have all the time and all the resources, and we jam pack it into a short period that's just not putting our best application forward. And it's unlikely to be successful when we don't have the right details in place. A great way around that is to ensure or look at, is there more than one intake? If there's another intake at a later date, consider applying then. If there isn't, really start putting some time into your grant planning, ensuring that when a deadline pops up, you already know what you need funding for, you understand the implications, you have the resources in place, and you're not scrambling. This comes back to some grant planning. That'll be a different topic. But finally, meet with the funder. Meet with the funder. They want to talk to you. They want to help you. They want to answer your questions. And more funders are offering this opportunity to talk to their applicants before they apply. So make sure you take that time and don't leave it for a week before the deadline, a few days before the deadline. Try again to make sure you're planning in advance so you have time to set up and coordinate schedules within your teams as well as with the funder. Now, next month, I'm going to give you some insider tips on the great and best questions to ask a funder when you set up that meeting. So make sure you tune in for next month. But that's all for this particular training. Quick, bite-sized. Think about the competitive nature. Are you eligible? Talk to a funder and really ensure that you are aligning your needs with the funders to get your best results. Thank you, and I hope you found this video helpful. Looking forward to the next one.